So I think in discussions we were having 10, 15 years ago, we realized that a number of people going to church had an understanding that being a Christian was knowing a few things about Jesus, reading the Bible, and going to church, full stop. But of course, being a Christian is about far more than that. And so I guess it was about 15 years ago that Gillian and Alita began running these weekend retreats at a conference centre about an hour and a half outside Cape Town, really trying to help people progress in their discipleship, to grow in their walk with the Lord by dealing with areas of pain and sin and brokenness that they weren't being confronted with, weren't addressing in the normal course of their involvement in church. And Building on the Rock came out of that. And after some years of running those courses, we had a core group of people who were committed to walking with Jesus in that way. And that core became the planting core of St. Barnabas Church. The church, in a way, came out of Building on the Rock in a very real sense. So it's very exciting for us, I think, to see the material go into video form with workbooks. And I think it's particularly relevant for the wider African context. We're privileged in the church to have a number of guys preparing for pastoral ministry in other African countries. And often these guys will be pastoring big churches, sometimes more than one big church. So we have one bloke in Kenya, for example. He only graduated last year, but he's pastoring 4 churches with 500 people in each church. Now, quite obviously, the pastoral workload associated with that is so immense. Where do you start? But to have a video-based course with workbooks and then training up leaders to run small courses makes it possible for you to begin to approach the challenge of discipling that number of people. The material is eminently suitable and appropriate for both men and women, and I warmly commend it. I think another challenge that this material addresses is that there has perhaps been a tendency in some circles for the minister, the pastor, to be seen as the hotline to God. He is my route to having a relationship with Jesus. Whereas I think what we're trying to say in Building on the Rock is we want people to establish a relationship with Jesus personally, to bring their pain, their suffering, their brokenness to Him. And I think that's one thing that Building on the Rock does really, really well.